The Shadow. There were many clouded nights, but that didn't stop Arthur Findlay as he stared up each night, gazing up at the sky. The air was crisp at nights, and he had a low tolerance for heat. He was looking for something he had seen as a younger man. He'd go out each evening after supper and smoke, but mostly lay back in his chair and stare with wondering eyes up at the sky at whatever was up there. It could be clouds, but a lot of times it was stars and planets, the occasional plane or satellite. Each little pinhole pricked by God, each little ember of fire as far as the light could travel through space and time. His neck would sometimes ache at all the looking up, but this didn't stop him either. He had a great hilltop view from his backyard. He could see most of the sky above the forests, which climbed their way down from the Smoky Mountain foothills. The air soothed him, and he would replay in his dreamy mind the memories between experience and dream that sometimes haunted him. But in all reality, Arthur was mainly curious. He remembered being 28, and having just married his wife, they came to this house on vacation before finally deciding to move in permanently. Both of them, Arthur and Penny Findlay, had gotten vehicles that could endure the terrain, and they both had gotten jobs where they could stay at home. She couldn't bear him any children, but they decided it was for the best when they saw their finances did indeed do a little more than support them. Arthur sold insurance, and Penny was an online influencer who made puppets for children and played accordion. She, at one end of the house, would play and sew and make videos and shop for products to further her puppetry. Arthur read and drank coffee mostly, but he had started a habit of reading after the incident that happened on their honeymoon. He read a lot of science and space journals and magazines about planes and aircraft. He had a habit of finding lots of speculative nonfiction about the origins of humankind. When he and Penny first pulled up to the house on their honeymoon vacation, they decided to grill steaks and drink beers together. She was making lots of sides and casseroles inside the kitchen, looking out at Arthur, who was more fit and handsome in his younger days, wearing nothing but shoes and jeans. He winked at her through the kitchen window as he began to come in for a minute to get some bug spray and a couple of beers. She giggled and kissed him. She teased him a bit as they embraced and kissed for a nice 20 seconds. They turned on some more music which blared out rock hits from their childhood as Arthur returned to the grill, his eyes glued to his wife who was cooking in her bikini. They were considering going to the lake after supper. Arthur and Penny could not resist each other's attention, each winking and making goofy faces, each trying to make the other laugh by stepping down fake stairs. Suddenly a burst of light lit up the already sunny afternoon, and the grill almost lost its fire until Arthur poked the coals a bit. He looked up, and ever since he has been looking up quite a bit. What he saw that day forever changed him. He became less religious. He became more curious about the world. He oftentimes lost sleep over poring through the internet and books at the library. Penny had ran outside and grabbed Arthur's arm. "Honey, what was that?" I don't know. I saw this shape, but..." He scratched his head. "But it doesn't make any sense." "Are you okay, Arthur?" She held onto his arm, looking him over for something that could hurt her husband. She wasn't sure what she was looking for, in fact. She had seen the shadow go over his head along with the light, He joked about aliens and UFOs for a while until the two shocked adults finally settled on it being a strange aircraft failure. "Should we tell anyone?" she asked him. "Maybe not," he said. "Why?" "Well, it draws weird attention." He held her hand and told her how delicious the macaroni casserole was, how perfect the green beans came out. They watched some old shows about the paranormal and laughed some at the cheesy narrator and the unlikely conclusions the show made. They kept living well into their 60s, and now she doesn't cook as much because she has arthritis. "Arthur, write us," she joked with Arthur to get him to cook something nice. He did it all for her. She was the kindling of his spirit's fire. They were still affectionate, even as they aged. Arthur did spend at least an hour a day outside looking up. She'd call him in, and he'd go watch television with her. "Arthur," she asked him as he did some dishes, "can you come sit down for a bit?" "Of course, dear," he said. "Are you all right?" "I am," she smiled with her blue eyes. "I want you to once again describe that shape you saw on our honeymoon. The one in the sky when it happened." He sighed and said, "It was like a triangle with a tail, almost like an arrow pointing to where it traveled. Watch this." She pressed play on a documentary about UFOs in America. It was an episode about the South. He was brought to tears by the photographs he saw. "Well, that clears it up," she said. "It still remains a mystery where it come from, what it is, etc., etc.," he added with a laugh. Penny just kept watching the program, and so did Arthur. The two fell asleep on the couch as they tended to do these days before relocating to the bedroom. Arthur began going to the lake more often. The 20-year-long war with Russia and China was over. Their retirement was peaceful. The long mystery remained unsolvable, but at least they knew they weren't alone. In many ways, none of us are alone.